All right, so many leagues are going to be drafting here in the next coming weeks. Are you ready? Are you prepared? We've put out a lot of draft strategy videos, but you know what it's time for? Something we haven't done in a while. It's time to pop, lock, and mock it, headliner style. What's going on, Headliner Nation? Jake, Fantasy Headliners. Hopefully you guys are all doing well out there. Welcome back to the Draft.com studios. Today, we're mock drafting. There's drafts all over the country, all over the world happening here in the next couple weeks. Maybe you've already drafted. Don't worry. I'm going to be talking about so many players in this episode. It may help you go out there and maybe claim some guys off waivers. We're doing a 12-team draft. It's going to be deep because we like to go deep over here at Headliner Nation, and we want to make sure everybody is taken care of during their draft day. Now, before we get into it, I'm going to have it all queued up and ready to go. Send you over to the draft room here in just a second, but don't forget, our draft guide is still out there to help you. It's $19.99 on our website, thefantasyheadliners.com, and people are loving the draft guide. If you've purchased our draft guide already, thank you very much. Make sure you put a comment down below and let everybody know what you think about it. I'm not trying to be a used car salesman here. Let's let the reviews of the people speak to the others who were thinking about buying it. So put that comment down below. Greatly appreciate it. And we're also giving away an autographed Marlon Mack jersey along with some Headliners swag to anybody who buys a draft guide up until September 4th. Is the day. So you have a few more days to get your draft guide in hand, buy it, dominate your season here in 2019. But for now, let's head into the draft room. This is what we're going to be looking at today. We're going to be doing a 12-team draft, a PPR draft from the number 4 spot, and it's going to be a standard lineup. 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, a tight end, a flex, defense, and kicker because why not? And then 8 bench spots. We're going to make sure that we go as deep as we can to get a lot of information in here. We're talking about a lot of players, not just the guys I'm selecting. It's kind of strategy and where I look and how I look at a draft board throughout the entire process, not just a pick by pick. This is who I'm taking now. That gets boring. Let's talk fantasy football. Let's make sure we're all ready to go. Let's head over to the draft room. All right, so we got all the settings loaded up here. We're going to go ahead and start our draft, stay in the classic draft room. I don't know if anybody's familiar with the new draft setup over here, so we're going to keep it simple with the old school one and go from there. So we said we wanted to go number 4 overall because there's still so many questions on what to do with Zeke. And I've said it before, and I'll continue to say it again. If Zeke is sitting at the time of your draft, I'm not drafting him. I don't want that headache. Yes, I think he reports at some point. No idea when. And that whole situation is just starting to look a little bit more uglier and uglier as the weeks go on. I don't care if he's not reported, I'm not taking him. I don't care what round it is or whatever. It's somebody else's headache, not mine. So what do we do? Well, in my opinion, my next options would be Davante Adams or David Johnson. Personally, I like to go heavy running back early. I'm looking for those guys that have that upside, that potential of 200-plus carries and 100-plus targets. Well, Barkley, McCaffrey, and Kamara are 3 of those guys, but they're off the board. Who's next in line? In my opinion, it's David Johnson. Yes, there's some concerns with the Arizona Cardinals offense and their offensive line, but it's preseason. Don't freak out. That offense is going to be way more improved than it was last year, and he still finished as a running back 1 last year. So I'm not too overly worried the volume is going to be there, and that's what you want this time of year. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. If you have the number 4 overall pick after you make your selection at number 4, it gets a little bit scary, and you're going to have to take some risks. In my opinion, the number 4 overall pick may be one of those picks that you're just going to have to cross your fingers, take a lot of chances, and just hope that it all plays out. That's kind of where the players are falling this year. Now, we're going to scroll down here and hide the drafted players because we don't care about them because they're gone. And let's see what we got. Now, I'm not touching tight end early, and I'm not touching quarterback early. We're sticking wide receiver and running back for at least the first 3 rounds, at least. So running back, we got Kerryon Johnson, Damian Williams, Leonard Fournette, Aaron Jones, Devonta Freeman. All of them have risks. Kerryon Johnson, C.J. Anderson is going to be a part of that backfield. Damian Williams, better watch out for Darwin Thompson. Leonard Fournette, need I say more? Aaron Jones, we always have to worry about Aaron Jones. The whole hashtag free Aaron Jones has been going on for years. Devonta Freeman, people, constantly worried about his injury history because they think he's one, concussion away from ending his career. Well, any running back is one play away from having a career-ending injury. It's not just Devonta Freeman. Yes, he runs violently, but so do a lot of other running backs. You can't pay attention to that too much. If they go into the season 100% healthy, that's all you can really base it off of. For the wide receiver position, you got Keenan Allen currently dealing with an injury. Antonio Brown, I mean, does he have skin on the bottom of his feet? Does he have a helmet that he finally likes? I mean, there's always issues and stuff going on with Antonio Brown, but he does have huge upside. T.Y. Hilton, what's the health of Andrew Luck? Adam Thielen is a very safe selection, but the second round is just too early, in my opinion. So right now, we're taking a chance. Antonio Brown has huge upside. Am I a big fan of Antonio Brown? No. Have I said in past videos that I would pass on him in my drafts? Yeah, I have. But looking at the draft board right now, in my opinion, he has the biggest upside, and it's going to be a little bit of a gamble, but if he pays off, if David Johnson pays off, you're going to be sitting pretty. It's just may cause a little bit more gray hair throughout the season. So let's go Antonio Brown in the second. I don't have that, I feel a little bit dirty doing it. I mean, I don't have that warm fuzzy, but that's part of this position. Number 4 is going to be rough for you. Let's go down and look what we got now. Running back still, Kerryon Johnson, Leonard Fournette, Devontae Freeman, Stephon Diggs, Amari Cooper, Julian Edelman there at the wide receiver side. Now, Devontae Freeman is somebody who I've been talking about all offseason, and yes, I get it. The whole injury-prone tag is stuck on him, and people will not let it go. However, this offense is going to be much improved. Heck, it was already great in Atlanta. They have the wide receiver talent on the outside to pull defenders outside of the box. There's no more Tevin Coleman, and there's really nobody behind Devontae Freeman to really challenge him for touches on a week-by-week basis. A former number 1 overall running back, yes, one injury away, but like I said, so are a lot of other people. There is huge upside here. He has pass-catching ability. I'm going Devontae Freeman. A lot of risk, but heck, if this pays off, you have yourself a championship roster, on draft day. Moving back down, now we got wide receivers, Cooper Kupp, Tyler Boyd, Alshon Jeffrey, DJ Moore, Calvin Ridley, Jarvis Landry, Mike Williams. Over here, running backs, Josh Jacobs, Chris Carson, Mark Ingram, David Montgomery, James White. This one's a little bit tough. I'm not huge on Josh Jacobs. To me, he's a little bit unproven, and by unproven, I mean he didn't even get, over 125 carries a year in college. How can we come out here and assume he's going to get close to 300 total touches in the NFL? I'm not buying that yet. Chris Carson, another one of these guys who constantly have to worry about injuries. We have a lot of guys with some constant injury concerns. Let's try to find some safety. Mark Ingram, safer play on an offense that's going to run the ball a lot. He could see 200 touches. David Montgomery, incoming rookie, in an offense that's going to be very explosive, and they seem to absolutely love him. Over on the wide receiver side, Cooper Kupp. Man, he's come back from ACL surgery so fast, and that worries me a little bit, but he looks absolutely great. Tyler Boyd, he has that upside for sure, but he's somewhat of a risk with the health of A.J. Green. Heck, A.J. Green may not be healthy until about week 6 through 8. That worries me a little bit. Alshon Jeffrey, not interested. DJ Moore, it's not that I don't like DJ Moore. I really don't like Cam Newton that much, so I'm kind of off the DJ Moore bandwagon. I would rather get Curtis Samuel later. Calvin Ridley, not going to tie it up with too many Falcons. I like the upside. Jarvis Landry, in my opinion, is a safe number 2 option. Jarvis has never had a wide receiver the caliber of Odell Beckham across from him in the NFL. The defensive attention, it's going to be on Nick Chubb and Odell Beckham. Jarvis Landry could see a lot of one-on-one coverage, and in my opinion, provides some safety for this team. So in my opinion, I'm going Jarvis Landry. Now you see here at the very top of the screen all of the, consensus of who we think you should pick. I don't pay attention to that. I pay attention to the research that I've done and what I've seen here throughout the offseason. I'm not just going to take somebody's, a group of other people's words for who I should take. This is still my team. It's still your team out there. We're not telling you who to take. We're just providing insight and trying to help you make your draft day decisions a little bit better. All right, so now that we're into the 5th round, now we can start looking at the tight end position. We can start looking a little bit ahead at the quarterback position, but I'm not going to reach for it if there's still somebody that I really like available at the running back or wide receiver position. Mark Ingram still sitting there. David Montgomery still sitting there. And to me, in the 5th round, it's not even a question. David Montgomery and the potential upside of David Montgomery is absolutely huge. And as my number 3 running back, I don't know why he's still on the board. He is. Oh well, I'm taking advantage of it and bringing him onto the squad. So now we got David Johnson, Devontae Freeman, Antonio Brown, Jarvis Landry, and David Montgomery. We got Vance McDonald sitting up there at the top of the tight end. We got Eric Ebron, not too interested. And then you have a pretty big drop-off starting with Austin Hooper. So before it gets too late, even though I see Mark Ingram there, I'm not going to fill a bench spot before I fill out most of my starting roster. So right now, Vance McDonald, being that he has that potential for a lot more targets than he saw last year in Pittsburgh, a lot more vacated targets in Pittsburgh, adding Vance McDonald to the team. And now let's see where we can go. We kind of had a little bit of a quarterback run. You had Aaron Rodgers, Cam Newton, and Baker Mayfield off the board. So now we're sitting here, and Andrew Luck is staring us in the face. What do we do with Andrew Luck in the 7th round? Well, I mean, Andrew Luck, 100% healthy, is going to be close. He's going to challenge for quarterback 1 overall in fantasy, but how healthy is he? It's a question. It's a question mark for a lot of people. But we talked about it early. With this lineup, you're going to have to take risks. At this position, the way that players fall, you're going to have to take risks. We're going to end up having to take a late quarterback as insurance, but let's go ahead and gamble. Let's go Andrew Luck here in the 7th. And if Andrew Luck is 100% healthy, just think about the potential with this lineup. Yes, there's a lot of risks, but that's going to happen. I mean, it's just going to happen at this point, starting right off the beginning at the number 4 spot. So now we have our quarterback, we have our 2 wide receivers, we have our 2 running backs, we have our tight end, we have our flex field. Now, 100% no matter what, best available, don't care about the position. Let's see what we got. Dante Pettis, Cortland Sutton, Geronimo Allison, Emmanuel Sanders, MVS, Anthony Miller. We got Lamar Miller, Kenyon Drake, Austin Eckler, Rashad Penny, Darius Geis. To me, it's pretty straightforward who I would take. I love running backs, right? I love Kenyon Drake. But seeing him, injured and Kalen Ballage getting all these first-team reps, it's starting to worry me a little bit. This is a PPR league. We know that Austin Eckler is going to be involved in a PPR league. Let's go ahead and grab ourselves now Austin Eckler, because it doesn't look like there's going to be Melvin Gordon, at least to start the season. Austin Eckler is going to be somebody who's going to see some volume at least the first few weeks, no matter what. So if we do have an early injury, we have kind of a little bit of a stopgap. Rolling down here, now we got Miller, Penny, Geis, Howard, Breida, Henderson. Over on the other side, Sanders, Miller, Kiki, do you love me, Deshaun Jackson, Golden Tate, Tyrell Williams. Now, I love the upside of Deshaun Jackson. I called him a must-have, a late-round steal in a video not that long ago, and we're into the 9th round, and it's still a little bit early, but after this selection, we're going to have to wait a little bit, so I don't know if he makes it back to me. Anthony Miller, I do like. There's a chance that he starts the season limited, which I don't like. Emmanuel Sanders, yes, he's coming off a torn Achilles. He's a little bit older, but we have a lot of risk. In my opinion, Deshaun Jackson is still a great choice here in a Philadelphia offense that's going to throw the ball. He's going to be one of the guys that sees the bulk of targets because everybody else is kind of a similar receiver. The Alshon Jeffries, J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, Nelson Aguilar, Zach Ertz, Dallas Goedert, big, fast, big-bodied, big receivers. This is the burner in the offense. This is Deshaun Jackson who's going to go out there and take the top off the defense. I'm going to take a chance here, and I'm going Deshaun Jackson in the 9th round. Now, we're taking a look at our bye weeks, but I'm not overly concerned as long as I don't have a lot in the same round. Why? I don't care if I lose 1 week. If I win the other 13, it doesn't matter that much. And so many things change by the time bye weeks come around. I just don't want a whole lot of guys. So we have pretty good, parity there. Scrolling back down, let's see what we got. Not going to take another quarterback yet. There's some other guys down the list that we'll take a chance on as our number 2, like Josh Allen, maybe Jimmy G. I'm not hating on Jimmy G. I mean, yeah, he didn't look great in his first preseason game, but guy hasn't played football in a year. Give him a break. And like I said, it's preseason. Kirk Cousins is another name sitting down there we may look at later. Now, for running backs, Darius Geis, too many running backs in that backfield for me to really want to worry about because I don't know what type of role he's really going to have. He hasn't even played a regular season game yet. Duke Johnson, love the PPR upside of Duke Johnson. Shady McCoy, they may run the wheels off and they may trade him to a contender. A lot of question marks there. Peyton Barber. Ronald Jones, man, made me almost choke there when I got to Ronald Jones already. No, say no to Rojo. Michael Gallup, love Michael Gallup. John Brown, James Washington, Kenny Stills, Deshaun Hamilton. To me, I'm gambling again. Duke Johnson, he could end up being the RB1 for the Houston Texans. And in my opinion, in a PPR league, I hit John Brown. Now, this is what you can do. Perfect. I can show you. This is something that's great about Fantasy Pros. If you accidentally hit a button like that, you can just revert your last pick and go back. Perfect, right? Hey, that's just a way to show one of the options you can do. This is mock drafting. Remember, you're trying to find out who goes where. Don't let a mistake bite you in the backside. All right. So what do we got? Austin Eckler, Deshaun Jackson, Duke Johnson on the bench. And now there's a whole lot of question marks. We could take Justin Jackson and wrap up that backfield in L.A. We could take James Washington and hope he can win out that number 2 spot over Dante Moncrief at some point. Kenny Stills could be a big play guy in Miami. Delaney Walker is a solid tight end. I mean, he has that tight end 1 upside, potentially. Let's see here. What else we got? Over there on the quarterback side, we got Phillip Rivers. I mean, he's somebody that could provide a little bit of stability there in case that Andrew Luck is not good to go. I still like, Kirk Cousins, Brady, Josh Allen, Garoppolo a little bit later. Heck, even Derek Carr a little bit later. So there really isn't one guy that really just jumps off the page to say, yep, this is the clear-cut guy. So let's play it a little bit safer since we've had a little bit of risk already. Let's go ahead and go to the tight end position. And just in case Vance McDonald, just in case he's a total bust this year, let's see what we can get. Delaney Walker, Trey Burton, Jordan Reed, who I think is a sleeper this year. Mark Andrews, love his potential upside. Jack motherfucking Doyle. I love Jack Doyle, and he's way down the list on almost every draft board. And is it a little early to take him? Yeah, it probably is. I could probably get him a few rounds later. But there's really nobody else that's just jumping off the board to just say, hey, this is the smartest pick right here. This is who you want to, unless we go a little bit farther down anyway. So if we're going a little bit farther down the list, let's go ahead and just say, you know what? Jack motherfucking Doyle. And it's early. But all these guys, there's nobody right here in this section that I really love. Anything happens to Eric Ebron, heck, I still think Jack Doyle has top 10, top 12 upside regardless. And now we got that position figured out. Quarterback, still got a lot available there. Not worried about that yet. Running back, Justice Hill is a possibility here, especially in PPR. Darwin Thompson is a guy that I've been telling people to grab all over the place. And right now, with us into the 12th round, it's about time, unless we want to take the chance on missing out on Darwin Thompson. So Darwin Thompson, way down the list. However, this guy is already possibly number 2 on the depth chart for the Kansas City Chiefs, and the kid is electric. He is absolutely... if you haven't watched film on Darwin Thompson, you really need to. You can see right here, he's trending up. Current ADP is 172. However, he's been taken as high as 75. He's starting to move up the draft boards. That's why he's still farther down this list, but it's going to slowly creep up. You don't want to miss out on him. I don't want to miss out on him. So I'm taking Darwin Thompson right here in the 13th. One more spot. Phillip Rivers still sitting there. Kind of just wants me to take Phillip Rivers. He gives us that safety just in case Andrew Luck isn't there. Phillip Rivers has thrown for over 4,000 yards for like a decade straight. The guy is going to throw the ball again, especially if there is no Melvin Gordon. They're going to rely more on the passing game. I'm going to take Phillip Rivers as our bench quarterback just in case. Now we'll go in here. We got one more spot. Defense and kicker always last. If I didn't even have to take one, I wouldn't. In normal leagues, I'll just draft an extra position player, 2 extra position players, and then end up dropping whoever is the least likely to get me, production week 1. Come week 1 and then just pick up a defense and a kicker and stream them. That's what I usually do. So let's see here. We're done with quarterbacks. We're done with tight ends. So we're strictly looking running back, wide receiver, and we're looking for upside. If you look down the list, Chase Edmonds could be a handcuff to David Johnson. He's a possibility. Nobody else really over there. C.J. Anderson could see a little bit of work. Mohamed Sanu, Albert Wilson, DK Metcalf, Quincy Enunwa, Devontae Parker, absolutely not. There's not a whole lot of, big name guys over there. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to go with DK Metcalf. Big plays, potential, don't need him right away. He's buried on the bottom of my bench. I don't have to rely on him. So I'm going to put him down there just in case. What if he is somebody who has really turned the corner and become a great route runner, a great wide receiver? Well, maybe he's not just big play. However, in that Seattle offense, look at Tyler Lockett last year. Look at the season he produced really off of big plays. That could be DK Metcalf this season. So now looking at kickers and defenses, both of them still there on the board. And actually, you know what? We have another spot. That's why they're all still there. I'm not taking them yet. We're still going with another one here. We've still got another spot on our bench to fill. And who is out there with some huge upside? Maybe a risk, may not need it, but the upside is there. Raquel Armstead could be the direct backup to Leonard Fournette. He could have a huge workload if anything happens to him, but he's currently dealing with a head injury, and heads are important. Over on the wide receiver side, Zay Jones, I think, has some upside in Buffalo. Traquan Smith, the number 2 in New Orleans. That's a possibility. Let's go with Traquan Smith. What happens if something happens to Michael Thomas? All of a sudden, Traquan Smith hops into that role and really becomes somebody who is a force to be reckoned with in New Orleans. The talent is there for sure. The targets really aren't there, but buried on our bench, it's not going to hurt us too bad. So here we go, looking at kickers and defenses. Overall, so many things are going to change all season long. I'm not too worried about it. Let's just go ahead and take the Texans defense. Doesn't really matter. All right, so here is the team we ended up with. We got Andrew Luck, David Johnson, Devontae Freeman, Antonio Brown, Jarvis Landry, Vance McDonald, David Montgomery. And on the bench, still a lot of upside on the bench. We got Austin Eckler, Deshaun Jackson, Duke Johnson, Jack Motherfucking Doyle, Darwin Thompson, Phillip Rivers, DK Metcalf, and Traquan Smith. A lot of options here, a lot of upside here, and a lot of risk here. Is this a team that you would be okay with? Me personally, at the number 4 spot, I like the potential upside of it. I would be worried every single week. However, there's enough firepower on this offense to also win you every single week. So let me know down in the comment section, what did you think? Did you like this way of going through a mock draft, kind of talking through it as we go? There's a lot of other opportunities out there. There's a lot of other ways to go. Trying to open up you guys' minds to give you that perspective. More than anything else, that's what we're trying to supply there, is perspective to help you make decisions on draft day. Really want to know what you think about it. Let me know down below how your drafts are going, questions you have, and don't forget, we have a live show coming up Saturday morning where I'll be doing live Q&A to help you with all of your draft questions for everybody drafting this week, and we want to make sure we help out as many people as we possibly can. So make sure you have a great rest of your week. Hopefully you guys are all out there, enjoying draft weekend. This is what it's all about. Greatly appreciate your support, and we will talk to you guys later. Thanks. Have a good one.